trek
We are
goes on?
definitely looking for donations for the charity. Yeah, absolutely.
And how's the best way for people to kind of do that?
Yeah, so I set up a GoFundMe, so it's super easy, and it's just gofundme.com/F. Think F for fundraiser. So it's /F/ Choppers Charity.
Chopper's Charity.
Talent Talk is sponsored by Company of Rogues Actors Studio, New York-style training for actors at all stages of their journey. With our part-time classes and full-time masterclass program, Rogues provides a unique post-secondary option under the guidance of working professionals. Mentoring and developing professional film and theater artists since 1993, Calgary's longest-running independent studio offers practical hands-on classes in a positive, supportive environment. Check us out at corogues.com. Company of Rogues. Passionate about the art of acting.
Hey, everybody. I'm Gary McLean. You're watching Talent Talk. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, please do go to the Talent Talk YouTube channel and subscribe today. As always, the support's appreciated. And just a reminder that this and previous episodes are available on podcast mediums such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, just to name a few. Essentially, wherever you listen to your podcast, it's probably there. Go check it out. And we also have sponsors for this, our fifth season, which is the first season we've actually been able to have some sponsors. So I'm very excited about that. And I need to give them a quick shout out. So we start off with 6 Degrees Sound and Music, who does our sound recording and editing in our in studio sessions. Now, this is a remote one, so they're not necessarily involved, but they help us nonetheless. Then we have Workflow Film, they're basically the film counterpart of 6 Degrees, and they do our film and video recording editing for the in studio sessions. We have Company of Rogues, which is a local acting school and studio. We have Counting Coup Indigenous Film Academy, Heard of One Media. We have RJ Talent, which is a Calgary local talent agency. And finally, we have Actor Alberta. So without those fine folks, this season would not be as good as it is. So thank you to those folks. And hopefully we can continue doing this later. Now, today's guest, you might know them from the series Mayans MC, or maybe Breaking Bad, El Camino, or maybe you've seen them in the magazine Easyriders. Who knows? She's all over the place, so I'm sure you've seen her somewhere. But she's not one to sit back on her laurels, though. She likes to keep herself busy by riding her Harley, acting, producing, modeling, and fundraising, just to name a few things. Her newest project combines pretty much all those aspects with the project Riding Route 66. With this, she'll be riding along with her dog Chopper, who we might meet in the interview, from Santa Monica to Chicago, filming and raising money for Wagmore Pet Dog Rescue. So please join me in welcoming Cody Renee Cameron to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining. Appreciate it for sure. How you doing?
So good. Also, since you mentioned him by name, Chopper's never far from me.
Excellent. Hello.
Good boy.
You used to have another dog though, right?
Yes, Cheeto's
Cheeto?
actually sleeping over here too.
Oh, perfect.
She's
Awesome.
my senior. She's 14, so she spends a lot of the time sleeping.
Gotcha. Okay. Excellent. And the only reason I knew that is because I was looking at your IMDb and I saw your IMDb was written by Cheeto Cameron. So I was just like, oh, I bet that's the dog.
Yes, you would be correct.
um, that's funny. It's funny IMDb itself, just the fact that you can basically write whatever you want in there. But anyway,
For sure. It's so silly. And then star power and all the weird stuff. It's like, whatever.
yes, exactly. So before we get to the your actual ride and all that stuff, how long have you been acting for?
So I moved to LA like 12 years ago, and the first 2 years were probably culture shock. And then after that, I started taking classes and I got an agent and manager. And I would say 10 years ago is where my career kicked off.
Okay, and you've made some really decent progress in 10 years, in my opinion. Anyway, from some of the stuff I've seen you've been in. Yeah, like what do you kind of attribute that to?
Yeah. like having a positive attitude and being fun to be around because then people want to bring you back, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Attitude's big.
what?
I just said attitude is big. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like if you're gonna be around these people for 16 hours a day, you might as well be around cool people.
Right.
Um, but yeah, my first movie was The Neon Demon, and Keanu Reeves was in it, and we didn't get to be on set on the same day, but yeah, I just I got the audition from my manager, and then went, and it was totally weird because I feel like when you're just getting started, like they're not gonna give you, I don't know, you just take all these like little weird roles. And yeah, I was an embalmed female corpse, but I had a scene with Jenna Malone and I actually had to audition for it. And who knew you had to audition for playing dead? But I guess if you tried to play dead, you would see how hard it really is. So,
Yes, I've had a couple of those myself. So, yes, because just in case you didn't know, I do some acting as well.
oh,
Um,
that's so cool.
yeah, yeah. So it's always fun doing those kind of parts. I've died a few times. They call me the Calgary Sean Bean. So
I love that.
um, yeah, no, that's amazing. And then you also did modeling as well, I believe, right? Was that before or after acting?
Yeah, I would say modeling was kind of the start. I was actually like an ugly duckling. And then in college, I feel like I started to blossom a little bit. I applied for a job at Hooters, and when they accepted me, I was like, they made a mistake. Did I lay on my resume? I don't know. Because I grew up, I had like braces and frizzy hair and like acne and all the stuff. But yeah, then Hooters, I started doing a little bit of modeling. I did the pageants, and then I got scouted for Playboy while I was working actually, and then the modeling thing took off from there.
Okay. And yeah, so aside like let's actually talk about Easy Rider since I kind of mentioned it in the beginning as well.
Yeah.
So for folks that might not be familiar with it, because honestly, I didn't know what it was until I started researching you a little bit. So it's essentially like a motorcycle magazine, correct?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
the iconic classic motorcycle magazine, like choppers and hot girls and cool articles.
yeah, yeah. So as you can tell, I'm not much of a motorcycle guy. So just in case you didn't know,
That's okay. I
but
got you covered. You asked me questions, I got you.
perfect, perfect. So what is the bike you ride right now?
So I have a 2006 Sportster custom lowrider. She's an 883, and yeah, it was the last year that they had a carburetor engine, so that's fun. But she has pink flames, so I feel like if you don't know anything about motorcycles, you understand that she has pink flames on her.
Yes. And do you kind of do your own uh, repairs and such as well, or
Yeah, a little bit. I do have a mechanic as well, but I'm always trying to learn more. And I can like change my oil, I can change my brake pads, like little stuff like that. I still have a friend check my work because I don't want to like my engine to explode on the highway or anything. But
no? That'd be a bad thing.
yeah,
And how long have you been riding for then?
like 10 years almost.
Oh, okay, so about the same amount of time as you've been acting.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's crazy because they kind of went hand in hand in that when I started riding motorcycles, it just really built my confidence and I really felt like I found my community because a lot of people say when you move to LA, it takes you 2 years to really even get your footing. So it kind of makes sense that it all kind of went hand in hand.
Okay. And like, was it always an interest that was kind of there, or like, what piqued your interest to actually start writing?
Yeah, I've always been an adrenaline junkie and I always like doing things outside of the box. Like I'm really little and so you wouldn't expect me to ride a motorcycle. But I was dating a guy and he got one and sold his car and I rode on the back for 2 weeks and then I was like, F this, I'm gonna get my own motorcycle. So I went and I took the safety class and I dropped the bike so many times. They were like, if you drop it again, we're gonna fail you. And so I didn't drop it again. I managed to pass. And yeah, I went and bought a little Honda Rebel, which is like a little 250. They look like mini Harleys kind of. And I rode that around for a while and then I graduated to a Harley and then I graduated to a bigger one and now that's where I'm at now.
Okay. Did I read somewhere that you actually race a little bit too?
I do supermoto, which is I'm not really racing, but you are training and then that supermoto is racing, but I just go to the supermoto school to be a better rider.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did read also that you're like pretty big in the biking community, if you will. How do you even really kind of get involved in that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's crazy because I started riding around by myself for a long time and I would go to parties and I was so shy. And the community is small, so it's like nobody really talks to you in the beginning. If they're like, "What are you doing here?" And you get a lot of like the, "Oh, you must be a poser" or whatever. And years and years and years of like continuing to show up and then coming to other people's events and being supportive of them and like their charities and yeah, kind of just like built up that way, and now I feel like I know everybody at every event, which is so exciting. Like I love it so much.
Nice, nice. It's I'm assuming you found the same kind of experience with film itself because you also do your own producing, right? You're producing all your stuff that's on YouTube right now, right? And
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. It's kind of the same thing where you kind of have to network everywhere to, get to meet people and maybe get some favors, things like that.
Exactly. Everything is on favors right now, because the Hall of Hollywood is on strike, so nobody has a budget for anything. I have friends asking me to do stuff for them and vice versa. I'm calling in the troops. So yeah. Very
Right.
collaborative. Collaborative
Y-
right now.
When it came to Mayans MC, I'm assuming your bike riding ability helped with that a bit,
I got an
or
audition
no?
through my agent and it was a bartending scene. So my bartending experience really helped me. Because like it's auditions are so funny because it's like you have to create the world and that's what makes it interesting. That's because you're an actor, but you don't just like look at the camera and say the line. I think I only had one line and it was like, "Sorry Terry, we're all out of high life" or something. So it's like I always like to imagine what other actors are doing and they're just like, "Sorry Terry, we're all out of high life," and then like that's it. But I was like cleaning the imaginary. I had a towel, and I'm like wiping the thing behind me, and then I'm like wiping my hands, and I'm like I like check in the imaginary freezer and I'm like, "Oh, sorry, Tear," and then kind
Right.
of create the world. So, yeah. And I think bartending really helped that. And then when I was on set, I kept dropping the hint every 5 seconds. I was like, "Hey, I ride. So if anybody needs a double, let me know."
Nice. And did you get to double or do anything like that
Um,
before?
So this was the final season, but Elgin was very open to like having a discussion with me, like, "Oh, if we can like fit that in somewhere, we would love to." And then he was like, "We're introducing a female motorcycle gang this season, and we hope that maybe down the line they'll get their own show, and you could be brought back into that or something." So there's hope, but Mayans is over now, and I did not get to ride any motorcycles.
Bummer.
That's okay. Can't win them all.
Well, right, exactly. There'll be another opportunity, I'm sure, somewhere else.
I got to be in an orgy scene instead, so it was a give and a take.
It's tomato. Did you get a chance to work with Augie Duke on set by chance?
Oh my gosh, so I've worked with Augie maybe a couple times,
Okay.
not on that set, but when I saw that she was also in Mayans, I was like, "Woo!" Because we love to like root for each other. But I worked with her for the first time on a horror movie. I think like a Amityville werewolf kind of situation, and she is so talented. Like
Yes.
she is very interesting to watch, and I'm a huge fan of hers.
Yeah, yeah. I had as a guest on the show last season, I think. And
Oh,
yeah, no,
cool.
she was awesome. Yeah, yeah, it was fun chatting with her for sure. And yeah, she was even nice enough to send me a what do you call it, like a testament of being a guest on the show kind of thing.
Oh,
Uh,
what a doll! She's awesome.
yeah, she yeah, it was very kind of her. Um, yeah, acting. It's a weird thing.
Hmm.
So let's talk riding Route 66.
Mm.
What's this all
Yes,
about? How did this begin?
I'm so excited. So it started out as a pipe dream. I was just like, we're out of work right now. Like, what can I do that I wouldn't be able to do if I was working? Like, let's really take advantage of this time. And my dad lives in Florida, and so I was like, what if I rode my motorcycle and I like had this idea where I was gonna start in Santa Monica and like pick up some sand in my left hand, and then like we would cut to the end, and I pick up sand in my right hand from Florida, and I'm like, I don't know. So I'm like all these. I lay in bed for hours just like thinking of these crazy ideas. So I had like thought about that, and then was talking with another girl, and she had a friend that had just ridden Route 66, and I just started researching that, and I was like, oh, I just love, like, I'm a car and bike girl, and I love like it's iconic, right? And a lot of Route 66 isn't there anymore, and more of it will continue to not be there. Like the 40 has kind of replaced it, the highway. And so someone had kind of like mentioned something too about like, oh, if you did it and we're posting it, that would kind of like revive business for like restaurants and hotels that were kind of struggling. And so I felt like very inspiring to choose that route. And that's kind of how it was born. And then um, I just started spitballing with my business partner, Jigger, who's going to be doing the ride with me and filming. He's the one, he has like an Insta360 camera on his bike. So all of my riding shots are done by him, or he's just like riding with the camera in his hand because it's crazy. And then it just kept getting bigger and bigger. I was like, what if we try to meet up with people? And then so many people wanted to be involved that I was like, well, what if we do a local charity ride to kick it off so all the LA friends can get involved? And then next thing I know, we're just like 12 hours a day planning stuff because my bike, for example, can only go 100 miles. So every 100 miles, we have to stop at a gas station over a 2,292 mile trip. That's a lot of gas stations. So we have to like plan that and, pick the attractions beforehand so that we can do a little research so that when we get there, I can say interesting things about them. And, yeah, it's been a really wild ride. It's been so exciting. And then I was like, well, should I spend my own money or should I try to get like sponsors? So then somebody else made me a pitch deck. I found somebody to make me a pitch deck. I paid them. And then it became this whole thing. I was like, oh, well, now I get to give people jobs that need work too. So I hired like one of my friends to be the support vehicle driver. And then I was like, oh, well, we need a trailer. So then I hit up Kendon Industries to get a trailer. And they were like, do you want it to be pink? And so I told you earlier, but like we went and picked up a trailer today. And it's like this Barbie pink color. And oh my gosh, another big thing is that like I really love, because I grew up in Southern Illinois where there's sports and like that's kind of what you do. There's church, sports, and getting married. Well, I didn't ever really fit into that box, even though I was good at soccer. But like I wanted to be an artist and I didn't really know how to access that. And like even moving out here, I always loved like I love dirt bikes, but like I don't have a dirt bike. Like how do I get to a place where I can go dirt biking and I don't know anything? And I think just having this like pink trailer reminds me of like I'm driving down like Route 66 and some like 8-year-old girl is sitting in the back seat and she's like, Dad, I want to like, and there's a, bike on it. And she's like, I want to ride bikes, like inspiring young girls that like, you can do this too. It's a male dominated sport, but more and more females are getting involved. And,
Yeah.
yeah, there's just like so many aspects to it that are so exciting. And then before, became a charity ride, I was like, it just felt like it was missing something. Like it felt a little bit vain. I was like, I don't like, does anybody care that I'm doing, like, do I care that I'm doing this? Why am I doing this? And then when it became a fundraiser, I got like super stoked on it. Cause then I feel like I'm like giving back, which is what I wanted in the beginning was like, how can I give back to the community that's given so much to me, motorcycles and dogs. Like I like to say, like they saved my life, like motorcycles taught me how to escape the darkness and dogs taught me about unconditional love. And to just be able to do something that combines all of those things is like, I feel like I'm winning at life.
And I mean, it's a huge endeavor. Like, so in reality, how long do you think you've actually spent kind of planning this so far?
I mean, we work every single day at it, and it's probably been a month and a half, of every single day we're planning things. Some days are heavier than others, and then there's like fires come up, and you got to put out the fires. Like I had hired a friend to do editing, and then he like ghosted me on an episode, and I was like, okay, now I need to hire like an editor, and getting like sending sponsorship packages out and then having like follow up with people. I've production coordinated for other people's projects, but never for my own. And so it's been really cool to like call in favors for relationships that I feel like I've been building over the years and use them for myself now instead of like for somebody else and for somebody else's benefit and somebody else's passion project. Like now it's my turn and that is so exciting.
Yeah, yeah. The one thing, I was looking at your pitch deck, and it looks great, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And I noticed you had some like social media stats on there, and
Mm-hmm.
the one that kind of stood out to me is that the majority of your viewership is like 94% male.
Yep.
I mean, like you said, though, right? Writing itself is pretty much male dominated, so I'm sure that's attracting a lot of that side um, of the gender, if you will.
Yeah.
But are you like having been in the community for a little while in the biking community? Are you seeing an increase, or do you see a certain number of females also getting into it?
Yeah, when I first started, I definitely felt all alone. I never saw girls on the road, but I also just didn't know where to go. And now, after I went to my first Babes Ride Out experience, which is an all female motorcycle camp out, there were like 400 other women, a lot of who also had never met other female riders, all coming together to go to this thing. And so I kind of made this core group of friends, and like we're all in this group chat, and now we hit each other up to ride, and then it's like you'll meet one other girl rider out, and then bring her in, and so now I kind of have like this whole little girl gang of riders, and it's so fun.
Nice. I mean, like obviously we have motorcyclists here as well. I don't see a lot of females, but usually when I do, they're usually like on a Ninja. This is what I
Mm,
usually see. But so
yeah.
it does seem a little different with you being on a Harley. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and that's another thing too, is the two like types of bikes don't really mix. Like if you're on a cruiser like a Harley, you tend to stick with cruisers because you just ride a different style and you're into different things, I guess. And then the sport bike people tend to like stick to the sport bike people because even like your gear is different, the way you ride is different, your riding position, like it's almost like even though you're both on two wheels, you like don't have as much in common as you would think.
Yeah, actually, yeah, like that's the other thing I notice as well is usually if there's somebody on like a Ninja or one of those faster bikes, if you will, or sportier bikes, they're usually by themselves. But if you see something like a Harley or another cruiser type bike, it's usually like a pair or a group. They kind of stick. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's kind of what I noticed, but so that's kind of interesting. Different personality too, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think yeah, like sport bike people tend to be, I mean, I'm pretty wild, but I don't know, I like to like chill when I ride, so
Yeah, fair enough. So, have you done like any extreme sports?
extreme sports.
Like, because you were saying you're kind of an adrenaline person, so so
Yeah. I was supposed to go skydiving in Hawaii a couple months ago when I was there, and there was a high wind advisory. So literally, like my skydiving appointment got canceled. They wouldn't rent anybody a surfboard, and I was just like, ah. But I still was able to get a motorcycle, so I was like fighting. I was like, how can I have a motorcycle but not a surfboard in this moment?
right.
So I feel like motorcycling itself is quite the extreme sport. I went dirt biking a couple weeks ago, and that is still very new to me. And my coach took me on the terrain that I don't really think I was ready for, and it's like you're just like going over these like mountains, and I don't know. I was like, ah! So that was crazy, but yeah, like I love it. I love horseback riding.
Okay.
I've done that in a lot of places, and my Instagram algorithm today was like horseback riding in Africa for 8 days and camping, and I was like, that seems like a really good way to get eaten by a lion, but also like that looks so fun. So now that's on my bucket list. Oh, because see, now I'm remembering all the things. I just started snowboarding. This last year has been insane because after things opened up after the pandemic, I was like, I'm gonna do everything that I was like holding back and doing. So I like went to Aspen and I like met a snowboard instructor, and then he's like, hey, I'm teaching in New Zealand in a couple months. Do you want to just meet me in New Zealand? And I was like, yeah, of course. So I flew out of the country for the first time by myself, and I even spent time like on a different island. So I was just like by myself, like exploring the city, and then yeah, met him up to snowboard, and that was like so crazy because also he was like, you can just hitchhike here, like it takes forever to try because you're an American, you can't get this bus pass or whatever, I don't know, whatever. So I was like hitchhiking across New Zealand. Like I guess
That's
it's
that's
extreme. Yeah.
that can be fun though. Like I know I took a trip to Scotland when I was younger, much younger, and I was hitching a ride as well. I was like on one of the islands off Scotland, and I was literally walking. The rain had just finished downpouring, so I was soaked. So I had my thumb out looking for a ride, and what pulled up? The first car that pulled up was like this at the time brand new Jaguar with leather interior.
Oh.
And he's like, "Oh, where are you headed?" I'm like, "Well, just to the next town." He's like, "Yeah, get in." I'm like, "Do you see how wet I am? Do you want me sitting on your seat?" So yeah, don't worry about it. So then we actually ended up going to his place. I met his wife. We had tea, and then he's like, "Yeah, my wife and I are heading to town anyway, so we'll take you there." And that was the end of it. But I was just like, "Holy cow, that's so
Yeah.
nice!" And I was just like, "Wow." So it can
Yeah.
be an interesting experience hitchhiking.
Yeah. It's crazy because it's like, people say like, oh, you can't do that nowadays here. And I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with them. I'm not trying to tell anybody else that they should be hitchhiking, but I just feel like I'm a good judge of character. And I don't know. I've always had really interesting experiences.
Absolutely. So did you ever try surfing?
Yes.
Okay.
That same like the Aspen crew, I met this group that they do thug yoga. So they like listen to thug music and do yoga. It's like this whole brand. It's so cool. And they were going on a trip to Morocco. And again, I like just met them and they're like, do you want to come to this surf and yoga retreat? And I was like, well, I've never surfed. And they're like, they teach you every day. So I went surfing for a week in Morocco and like, yeah, fell in love with that too. So yeah, all the extreme sports. Yeah.
Nice. So you've done a lot of like world traveling kind of as well then.
Yeah, and all kind of like more recently.
Okay.
Because yeah, again, like small town, didn't really travel, and then came out here and just went wild. And I love exploring. Like I'm such an adventurer, so it really like feeds my soul.
Nice. Well, since you've done some snowboarding in Aspen, another great place to go would be our Canadian mountains here in the Rockies, just in Alberta here. It's
Yeah.
almost like being in Aspen, honestly. It is. Like if you go to the Banff area, keep that in mind. Banff Place, that's where everybody kind of goes, and then we've got like I don't know 3 or 4 ski hills in the area that you can
Okay.
try out. So
Sign me
yeah,
up.
yeah, there's lots there for sure. Um,
So
and
you
yeah,
snowboard too, then?
no, I do not. No, I've skied, but I haven't snowboarded. But I haven't done that for a long time either. So, but I have tons of friends who do it all the time. So I hear
Nice.
the stories.
Yeah.
I,
Nice.
I like to live vicariously through people.
Yeah. Also, snow sports people are like a different breed of people. Like all the people that are the snowboard instructors are like so unique and so wild and like I love their energy because they don't care what anyone thinks. And so that's a nice change off from like how LA is where everybody's like on their phones and cares about makeup and hair and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So coming from the small town kind of scenario, like do you consider yourself a bit of an introvert, or do you consider yourself an extrovert?
The older I get, I find that I need to recharge alone and that my social battery gets drained very quickly and then I'm over it. So I would actually call myself an introvert now, but in my 20s I would have just said like, no, I never want to be alone, but I was also like drinking and partying a lot then and now I'm 4 months sober and I think COVID really at least for me, COVID really calmed me down. Like I learned to appreciate time a lot more. And because before that I was working like 72 jobs a day. I'd go
Mm,
bartend and then I'd wake up early and I'd go PA a job and then have all these auditions and maybe book one and then have an acting job and then go, do a beer tasting somewhere. Like I was just scraping by. And so I had to do all these jobs too. It was very fast paced. And then COVID like shut everything down and I learned to breathe and take everything in and just enjoy life a lot more on life's terms instead of just like go 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 all the time.
okay. Yeah, I think that's probably done a lot for a lot of people that way. I myself, I don't think much changed really. I've always been kind of balanced, I guess, in a way. Like I'm okay going into social situations, but I don't need to, and I'm actually okay have with the alone time as well. So I'm like, whatever. I'm
Yeah,
very
I
much
just
roll with the punches.
yeah, I feel like I just need it to be on my terms, which I guess maybe sounds like selfish or controlling, but I know like when I'm over it and then I want to leave and I'm such a loner, like I love going to the bar by myself or like a restaurant by myself because then you're not waiting around on somebody else and like their happiness isn't your like responsibility, I feel like in relationships, like friendships, whatever, it's like now, oh, I have to like what time do you want to meet? And like, oh, and the girls are like, what are you wearing? And I'm like, I don't know, sweatpants. Who cares? Like, let's just go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Um, we're actually at the 30-minute mark already, which seemed to
crazy.
fly really fast. But I do want to get a couple more things regarding uh, your Route 66 here. Um, also, so if people want to kind of like you have some sponsors already, right?
Yeah,
But you're kind of looking for more as the trek
we are
goes on.
definitely looking for donations for the charity. Yeah, absolutely.
And how's the best way for people to kind of do that?
Yeah, so I set up a GoFundMe, so it's super easy, and it's just gofundme.com/F. Think F for fundraiser. So it's /F/Choppers Charity.
Chopper's Charity,
Yeah.
which is Chopper the dog,
Yeah.
just so you guys know.
Which is great because motorcycles are also choppers.
Yes, exactly, right? Yeah, yeah, totally. So does she actually like? How does she ride on the bike with you?
So I have a little backpack and it's made for dogs, and then his little head sticks out, and then I put little goggles on him to protect his eyes, and then we just go.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about the Wagmore as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
So Chopper was rescued from a hoarding house with 100 other dogs. Wagmore is this organization that will just, if they have room, they will take them. A lot of organizations are like, oh, we only want puppies, or like, we don't want the dogs that have been bred and have all these medical issues. They're like, we will take them. And I just have so much respect for Melissa, who is the founder, and been working very closely with them to kind of create this project. And they're bringing a van full of puppies on Saturday to our local event, and hoping some dogs get adopted. I know I'm going to get lots of puppy cuddles. But yeah, they're located in Studio City, locally here in LA. And every Saturday, I think they do like meet and greet. So you can do a $10 donation, and then even if you're not looking to adopt, you can just go cuddle with puppies for $10, and that's like a nice little afternoon. There's like coffee shops across the street and stuff, and they're just a really cool organization. They have um, another thing that they do where they take dogs from the Midwest that aren't wanted, and they take dogs from here. So like here, it's hard to get pit bulls adopted, right? Because so many apartments have rules and regulations. But in the Midwest, everybody wants the big dogs. So they do these trades so that more dogs can get adopted. And they're just really innovative like that. And they're just so good at a call to action for the community to come help. And so many people support them. And yeah, I'm just really stoked to be involved with them.
nice. Do you have a target in mind as to how much you want to raise, or?
Yes. So I'm riding 2,292 miles. So I'm asking people to donate $22.92, because that is a penny per mile. Is that what the math is? I think that's a penny per mile. A
Something,
dollar
yeah,
per,
something
a
like
penny
that.
per mile. And then so my goal, I wanted to like keep it in line. So it's $22,920. So just add a zero to the end of my mile. So yeah, I'm hoping to raise over $20,000. We're already at a little over 2,000, and to me, it like hasn't really started yet. I kind of made things really early. I'm like a super planner, so like I already had it active. So I was like, oh well, let's just start promoting it a little bit. But really, this Saturday is the kickoff to the charity, and we have some crazy stuff to raffle off. We're raffling off an $800 Simpson motorcycle helmet, $500 Eagle Rider motorcycle gift cards, $500 handlebars from Factory 47, and a $500 detail and ceramic coating from Anthony's Auto Spa, and a $500 wheelie session from Live 100 Moto. So like, again, those are all prizes worth over $500, and tickets are $1. So you could walk away with an $800 helmet from $1 ticket. And so I'm hoping that people buy a lot of tickets, and everything that I'm providing, I have all this merch. So like I made patches. There's Chopper.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, and shift gears, change lives is our tagline. Hashtag shift gears, change lives. But we made patches and shirts, and I have magazines. I was just published in Wheels and Heels magazine, so I'm bringing those, and stickers. Did I say stickers? And I'm covering the cost of all the products. So, well, the sponsors are, I guess, me and the sponsors. So then everything will just be like for donation. Like you want a patch, like, oh, I recommend a $20 donation, and then all of that money, all the proceeds is going to Wagmore, and we're not taking a dime.
Nice.
So yeah, just hoping to like smash it.
Nice. And so does the whole like does first off, how long to get from Santa Monica to Chicago?
I scheduled it out to 10 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does the campaign kind of run just to that point, or are you counting when you come back as well?
So it's definitely running till then, till I get to Chicago. And then my hometown actually got word of this, and I'm from Marion, Illinois, so that's 6 hours south of Chicago. And they're like, if you come down here, we would love to throw you an event at our Harley Davidson. And I was like, oh my gosh. So we have an event here, and then we have an event ending over there. And I feel like that will be that, to me, that kind of feels like the end. But then the thing is that it's a 10-day trip riding, and that's going to be 10 episodes for my YouTube show called Iron Pony. like motorcycles, Iron Pony, and then I want to use that to pitch to like a travel reality show, like chick riding motorcycles, doing crazy things, like come watch this.
Yeah.
But
Uh-oh.
you know, because we'll be talking about the charity aspect throughout those episodes, which will take a while to edit and come out, it's like, well, why not just keep it active and open if people want to keep donating? Is kind of the thought. But yeah, I guess I would like to reach the goal after Marion. That's kind of like the hit that $20,000 mark, and then, you know, maybe keep it open for anything else that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Very nice. Well, I think that sounds amazing. So folks, make sure you, which by the way, all your social media access and everything else will be in the, I shouldn't point down like that, will be in the description below of this episode. So make sure you click on some of those links and check out her details. And I think I'll probably throw the um, GoFundMe campaign on there as well, the link for that.
Perfect. Thank you.
And yeah, make sure everybody checks that out. Good luck to you. Have a safe ride, all that kind of stuff. Thank you again so much for spending your time with me today. And
Yeah.
yeah, best
Thank
of
you.
luck.
Yeah, it was lovely chatting with you.
Yeah, likewise. And yeah, everybody, I'll see you guys next week when we have another guest. Have a good one. See you next time.